This one looks more like what we see in Justice League Unlimited, where with the kind of, I mean, it's not a full body, completely covered. We see its joints and we see its bits. And this is certainly a heck of a lot better than the T.O. Morrow Red Tornado that we saw in Supergirl a couple seasons ago. That looked like somebody just glued on some foam mats to make that costume. This one actually looks pretty good and is CG, so you do know that it's going to look a little bit different.
And they made Amazo into a really great acronym: Anti-Metahuman Adaptive Zooatomic Organism.
Yeah, I like that too. I really like that.
That is nice. That makes sense, and that makes the explanation of how Cisco calls him Amazo when Professor Ivo already exists with a ship called the Amazo in this universe.
Yep.
Without, asking the question of why everybody in the universe who's been around longer than Barry and has been traveling from universe to universe uses the same universal Earth designations that he does.
So Oliver Queen, as the Flash, runs to go get Diggle. And, of course, we get the Diggle throwing up gag, which is my favorite recurring gag in this
Diggle vomit.
is that he cannot help himself whenever he gets moved through the speed dimensions, or not dimensions, but just gets moved very, very fast. Yeah.
Diggle vomiting is, I think, a really nice repeated joke. It's gross. I mean, it's gross in the same way that Ralph's repeated grossness has been, but it's gross in a way that also kind of funny, and it really underlines the fact that Diggle is this implacable, super tough, awesome fighty guy, but you take him at super speed and he blows his lunch.
Yeah. I still find that incredibly funny. So Barry and Oliver go to Earth 38, and we get this brilliant Smallville opening as we move over the city, and we move on to the Kent farm, and it is the same Kent farm and the same Smallville theme song from the Smallville series from over a decade ago.
Yep.
Which, again, brings up this question: is Earth 38, is the Smallville TV series Earth 38, and is that the same one as the Smallville TV show? And I have to say yes, because the creators are specifically using that theme song to introduce us into that world.
If we look at the time frame, it's kind of brilliant, because Tom Welling growing up into the Tyler Hoechlin Superman that we see, and the 13-year gap between him being Superman and Kara Zor-El showing up, actually works in this continuity. Kara would have shown up right after, or soon after, Tom Welling would have become Superman. And then we have that gap where she grows up to be Supergirl, and then you have this Tyler Hoechlin playing Superman, who is essentially the right age. So it is either the same universe as Smallville, or a universe that is so cosmetically similar that it might as well be the same.
I'm just going to say that the Smallville TV series is Earth 38, and all that stuff is in continuity.
I would agree with you, but until somebody says for sure, it might be biting off a little more than we wanted to chew on that. Granted, I'm with you.
I would be okay with that, because it does answer the question of, well, is there an Aquaman in that Earth 38? Yes.
Right.
We got to see Aquaman. We got to see all the speedsters. We got to see all of those people.
Arrow?
Yes, there is, and he's a horrible Green Arrow.
Flash?
There is a speedster by the name of Bart Allen in that universe.
Yep. There's a lot of things in there that would also work and also not. So
yeah.
But I agree with you. I'm going on the record as saying that, yes, I believe Earth 38 is the Smallville universe 10 years down the line.
Now, there's a lot of things. Again, the only times I'm watching Supergirl right now are during the big crossover event. So I have a lot of questions about what's going on with Superman and Lois Lane. Is this the first time that we've ever seen Lois Lane in this Supergirl?
It is.
Okay.
We've referred to Lois multiple times.
Okay.
But we've never seen Lois appear.
Okay.
And Clark, who appeared on and off through the previous 2 seasons of Supergirl, was referenced earlier in Supergirl season 4 as being off planet.
Okay, and we find out that he's been to this to Argo City.
Yes,
which is
either this season or the end of last season. Kara discovered that her hometown, Argo City, still exists. Her birth mother, Allura, is there.
Played by
Erica Durance. Lois Lane on Smallville. So, yes, they've said that Superman was off panel. I believe that this episode is the first reference to Superman being off planet, specifically going to Argo, he and Lois went to Argo to hang out so that she could report on Argo and he could basically be at home in a Kryptonian sort of place.
Yeah, so I really love this Lois and Clark relationship in this show.
Are they not amazing? The thing that I like, the thing that I know is intentional on Berlanti and production's part, is this actress looks like a young Margot Kidder.
Oh, yes. Very much so. Yeah, very much so.
All over the place. And I love their relationship. I would not argue with the show. It could be about the adventures of Clark and Lois together. You could call it, I don't know,
the new adventures. No, the new adventures of Lois and Clark.
But the adventures of Lois and Clark with these particular actors in the lead, that'd be awesome.
Well, I have not seen Hecklin as Superman that much, but I like him as Superman. I like him as evil Superman. When I first saw him, I was like, oh no, a couple of seasons ago, I was like, this guy looks nothing like a Superman that we think. And then every time I have seen him, I'm like, this guy really has the look and the build and some of the characteristics. And when he's playing Clark and he's got the, oh gosh, golly gee, here's some homespun knowledge that I'm going to drop on you, Kara, is really good.
Yeah, he's not as, this is the thing that I love about him. He's not as flashy about it as some Superman are. I mean, Dean Cain made a big deal of puffing out his chest and being Superman, and that was great. Right. I liked Dean Cain's Superman. I feel like Hecklin kind of draws a little bit on the Christopher Reeve thing of Superman is quiet, Superman smiles, Superman is supportive and friendly and awesome. In fact, the thing that I love is when he first comes to Earth 1 and everybody at Star Labs is like, who the hell are you? He's like, a friend.
Yeah.
That character is so solid. And you see the actor and you think he's too young to pull off Superman.
No, he really isn't.
And then you see him in the cape, which tragically does not have a big yellow S on the back.
I'm okay with that.
I'm not. That makes me sad. But nonetheless, you see him in the cape, you see him standing there, and he does that thing where he's like, well, I guess it's time to punch the crap out of an android.
Oh, yeah. And you know where the Ivo factory is located? It's located at the corner of Wade and Augustine.
Perfect.
I know. Really, really good. And so we get to see these heroes figure out a way to beat up Amazo. And one of the big things that starts to occur through this storyline is that in order for Oliver to be Flash and in order for Barry to be Green Arrow, they have to take on the characteristics, meaning that Oliver now has to start acting a little bit more cheerful and hopeful, and Barry has to go dark and brooding and use the voice.
Barry has to focus on his intensity, which he doesn't normally do, and Oliver has to kind of let go and just let himself, be drawn into the Speed Force. It makes sense character-wise, but it also does give us the callback where'd you hide the automatic bows? Come on, I wouldn't do that. And then Barry shoots him in the back.
Yeah, that actually took place, I think, in the Green Arrow episode.
Oh, no.
No, it happened in this one. It happened in this one. Yeah, that's right. For me, I watched all three of these back to back to back, and I think it really plays well as a 75-minute movie. This is really good.
Yeah, I liked it better the way I watched it because there are specific things that make each an individual episode. Because this Flash episode has, the flashback. It has the stuff at Star Labs. It has the setup on Earth 38, and it ends with the moment of, okay, we've defeated Amazo. By the way, they defeated Amazo.
Yes.
And they gave us flat out great, wonderful Justice League of Superman, Flash, Green Arrow, and Supergirl. Just
and
busting up the city.
Don't forget Vibe. And Elongated Man.
A second of Elongated Man. But they went full on League action, and it was fun, and it was supportive and breezy, and it wasn't everybody trying to kill each other.
And Killer Frost.
This is like the League that I wanted.
It is pretty good. It is really pretty good.
They defeated it, and at the end they were all like, okay, now let's go figure this other thing out. And it ends all of that arc, and then you see the little thing of,
and then they're like, we need to go to Gotham City.
And then you see this.
VIP live chat. Everybody get in the room. Oh, I see one of you over on Twitch. Room is filling up. We're going to get this thing started. Don't worry. Oh, what does it say? Starting in 10 minutes now. That's not good. How about we just wait and start this? Well, how about we just do this? I don't know why that did that. Stupid thing. Now we're 30 seconds early, Brian. 30 seconds early. Now I think everybody should be able to hear you. Give me a hello. How you doing?
Hi everyone. How's it going?
There you go. If you can hear Brian, that's good. He may be a little louder than I am. That's fine too.
Okay.
That's all right. You can just talk in your normal voice. Look at that fancy sweater that Brian has on today. That is a holiday sweater, dude.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. What do you got? T-Rexes and sparkly bits and disco and
yeah, I got a little holiday party going on, an ugly sweater themed party, and so
I wouldn't say that that's an ugly sweater. I would say that's a beautiful sweater.
There was one that was uglier.
Oh, really?
It was like a weird blue teal color with flamingos on it and a desert scene, and
oh my goodness.
I don't know. It was hideous, but they didn't quite have it in my size, so I went with this one. And yeah, since I got to party later, I figured I'd just put it on a bit early and spread a bit more holiday cheer here.
Holiday cheer to our... Oh, my God! Oh, my God, that thing lights up. I did not. Sorry. I'm wearing just a blue shirt today. But this is our December live chat that normally we do for our VIP and patrons. It's exclusive to our $10 and up VIP and patrons, but every December we open it up and we make it free to all of the major Spoilerites around the world so that you can kind of get an idea of what we are doing, some of the things that we do during our live monthly chat, and most importantly, thank you for being a patron and supporting us throughout the year. So there's a bunch of people lining up in the room. J. Michael T. Ingrid is there. If you don't know Ingrid, she is one of our new writers over at majorspoilers.com, and I'll talk about some of the new additions that we have done this year and some of the changes here in just a minute. And we've got Jarmo in the room, and I think that's it right now. Of the people that are speaking up, I don't see any, I don't see a Belle Biv DeVoe in there. I don't see any Great Nate O's in the room. I don't see any, who else? Bill is not in the room either, so we'll get started. People will join us here shortly as we go on. But I thought maybe we would just start. And of course, if you in the chat, both either on Twitch or in the YouTube, and if you're just watching the video stream and you want to get in on the chat, jump over to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/majorspoilersvideo, and then get into the chat there, and you can ask your questions if you have them. I do have Twitch, but it's behind, or I'm sorry, not Twitch, Twitter. It's on a screen behind me, essentially. So I won't be able to see anything if you're throwing stuff up on the tweets, on the Twitter. But I thought what we would do is start with some kind of year in review. And I know we've still got a couple of weeks left in 2018. And so there's going to be a little bit of the data, a little bit of the metrics that are a little bit different than before. But I just kind of wanted to go over with some of the improvements that we've had on the site. Obviously, it was a couple of months ago, we put a brand new look on the site, which some people, I think, like overall. I know I like it. I know it's kind of doing a little bit more than what we wanted to do before. Part of this came about because we were just running into an older version of PHP that needed to be installed, and the previous theme that we had just wasn't working at all with that. And so over the course of a weekend when I was out of town, I had to get a new theme installed, and then I was working with some people that do some actual web app programming stuff and some coding of websites, and we were able to kind of get everything working. And I think everything's been working pretty good for the last month and a half, 2 months now. I guess since late September, early October, I guess we've been doing this. So we have that going on right now as well. So that is one of the big improvements. Of course, we upgraded to the back end to more higher, faster version of PHP, the more recent version. In fact, I think it is the very recent version, even though I was very hesitant to go that far. Brian's computer networking background, right? Web development and that kind of stuff. You know the computer sciences and the dangers of upgrading right in a live environment. So luckily that went through without a problem. And the nice thing is we do have good support with our hosting provider. Rackspace is who we've been using since 2015. And for those of you that have been around since then, you remember how awful the end of 2014, the beginning of 2015 was as we moved away finally from GoDaddy and over onto Rackspace. The big difference is obviously Rackspace knows what they're doing. GoDaddy does not know what they're doing, or at least they don't know what they're doing when dealing with a company that has grown as fast as Major Spoilers has. But it's also at a cost of more than $500 a month, more than 500, less than 1,000. So if you're wanting to know where some of your Patreon money goes to, it goes to keeping the server up, which is where we host all of our RSS feeds, which is where we host the website, which is where we host all of the bonus content for the VIP site, the members.majorspoilers.com site, if you're watching over there, and a bunch of other stuff that we have going on. Of course, our main hosting provider is Libsyn for our podcasts, and we're at the highest tier with that. And of course, that comes with a near $80 a month charge for there. So there's where a bulk of the monthly stuff goes to. And since we're really kind of talking about podcasts really quick, I've got some data for you in terms of how many podcasts we released this year and how many we released last year. Are you ready for this, Brian? You ready to do some maths in your head? Let's start with Critical Hit. In 2018, we will have, by the end of this year, we'll have released 50 episodes of Critical Hit. Last year, we released 51 episodes. And I know people are like, well, why is that? When we look at these numbers, a lot of it has to do with holidays and when holidays fell. And so we never do one on Thanksgiving, but always if the weekends fall right for Christmas and New Year's, we will get stuff out then. This year, I think Christmas is on Tuesday.
Yeah.
And New Year's Day is on Tuesday. So we'll be able to have Critical Hit for the remainder of the year. Last year, we had 51, as I said. The Dueling Review podcast, we should have 51 this year. We had 50 last year, so kind of a flip-flop there. Zach on Film, no episodes this year. We did have 36 last year, though, as we wrapped up that season. And Zach and I have kind of been talking about, could we get in here at least to try to do one this year? And his schedule doesn't permit it. My schedule doesn't permit it. He's a new dad. Yeah. His son's a year old, and he's having a blast with his kid. So good for Zach and good for his wife and good for his job. He's working for a company up in Plainville, which is basically they do custom furniture for the rich and famous. So if you're someone that's going through a magazine spread and you're looking at Oprah's house or some famous person's house, there's a good chance that the company that Zach now works for provided a lot of the furniture for that house, some of the custom furniture for that house. And so he does a lot of video work for them, and he's flying to Los Angeles and Chicago like nonstop all the time. But he was over at the house the other day just to pick up some things. But he's doing really well. But we just could not figure out how to get a Zach on Film in this year. We were going to do it on Buster Scruggs. I don't know if you've seen that.
No, I haven't watched it yet.
It's really good. It's on Netflix, Brian. It's really, really good and worth your time.
Kind of holding out to get the wife to watch it because she does like some of the Coen Brothers stuff.
It's pretty violent, so she doesn't like the violence.
I mean, she likes Django. And
okay, all right, then should be fine.
She's okay with Tarantino mostly, as long.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Major Spoilers podcast. We will be able to get out 50 episodes this year. We will not be next week. We're actually recording the Major Spoilers podcast on Monday this next week instead of Tuesday because of holiday programming. But we did 49 in 2017. Munchkin Land, we released 40 episodes in 2018. We had 51 in 2017, but that's because we were doing both audio and video last year. This year we did almost exclusively video for Munchkin Land. And so that takes up a lot of extra time. Some of these, it's been taking about 2 weeks to get some of these episodes done. And so that is probably one of the reasons why we have that slight decline. But also we're putting out video, which takes a lot longer to do. And we're playing games that are not like 60-minute games. We're playing games that are like 2.5, 3 hour long games. So yeah, that's a drop there. Legion Clubhouse, we will release 21 episodes this year. We have 20 episodes last year, so we're one up from last year. Top 5, 47 episodes this year, only 25 episodes last year, and you may be thinking, why the increase by so much for Top 5? And that's because we have Dan, the Tabletop Man, who's doing the Top 5 Express, where he comes in and does like top 5 games, board games kind of stuff. So he did send me, I think this week we should have the top 5 Christmas themed games to play. He just wrapped up a 2-part series on top 5 Star Wars games and top 5 Star Trek games. Finally, Friday, we had 37 episodes, or we will have released 37 episodes in 2018. We only had 30 episodes in 2017, and I know for someone like Jess the Red, I don't know if she's in the room or not. Oh, she just showed up. Hi, Jess. We're just talking about you. And Finally Friday. 2017, we only had 30 Finally Friday episodes. The goal, I was going through my goal book right here, and the goal for 2018 was to release 40 episodes of Finally Friday this year. We missed it by 3. We will have released 37 episodes of Finally Friday in 2018. That means that in 2018, we had 296 episodes released, compared to last year of 312 episodes released, a difference of 16. So almost, what would they be, like 4 months worth of stuff that we weren't able to do. A lot of that has to do with no Zach on film. A lot of that has to do with Munchkinland and just the changes there. So I feel pretty comfortable where we're at. I didn't calculate, all of the flashback episodes that we did, the exclusive stuff that we've done, or the number of pre-shows that we have done. That's a big thing that we did in 2018, is started releasing all the pre-show content to our patrons and our VIP members. So you can listen to that, hear about anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes of pre-show chatter. Then you can listen to the Major Spoilers podcast and get on with your day right there. So I feel pretty comfortable for where we're at in podcasts. These things do cost us to get them done. And man, we have just kind of been slumping just a little bit with our patronage. And I'm concerned that we may have to cancel a show or two in 2019 if we can't get those numbers up. And I don't want to do that. And I know a number of you don't want that to happen. So if you are not a patron, now is a good time. Or maybe December isn't because of the holidays, but certainly you want to in 2019 get your contributions and pledges in. I did mention, Brian, that we've been doing a lot more video for Munchkinland.
Yeah.
This year we created, or as far as watch time goes, watch time for 2018 to date, 9,412 hours of people watching our content. That's down 600 hours from last year. But then again, I haven't been doing any Lego videos this year. And so those got a lot of watches and views. Yeah, so I'm comfortable with where we're at. We certainly exceed YouTube minimum requirements for being one of those ones that they can sell commercial time on. Not that we're going to get any paychecks from that anytime soon, but I'm comfortable that where we are with that. Where the big news is, Jarmo says the pre-show tracks are amazing. I need Rodrigo's sweater for a party at work. I think you mean you need Brian's sweater for a party at work.
I got it at Walmart, so.
There you go. Jarmo says, I really like Legion Clubhouse. Very informative for a Legion newbie. We are recording, Matthew and I will be recording a bunch of new Legion Clubhouse episodes in our, not really seasons, I don't want to call them seasons now, but in our 5th phase of shows. We do have all of the 4th phase or the 4th season shows done. The 5th phase, we are 2 episodes in, so we're going to be recording a bunch of those over the holidays. Let's see. Michael Mela says, not that I would want shows to go away, but maybe it's time to tighten up the schedule and focus on what's working. Well, like I said, we can certainly get rid of shows, and that would mean that some of people's favorite shows would be going away. So there you go. Everything's working. Everything's fine. Numbers are really good. Numbers are really solid. As far as podcasts go, I thought I had a number of downloads. This year in 2018, we had over 2 million downloads, episode downloads. That's down about 250,000 downloads from last year. A lot of that, though, again, is because we moved Munchkinland off of the audio-only feed, and it is now basically video-only. So that accounts for a lot of those downloads right there. Let's see. You're just tiny people on my phone. Saw lots of brown hair. Oh, okay. That's why she thought it was Rodrigo. Rodrigo is in Seattle. Rodrigo works on weekends. That's why he's not here. This weekend, we're getting close to Matthew's birthday, so this weekend, he is celebrating his birthday. That's why he's not here. Rob is doing Rob things. Sam is sick. She was in the hospital with sick, so hopefully she's feeling better. I'm forgetting who else we have. Dr. Brad is doing Dr. Brad things. The semester just wrapped up, so I'm sure he's got a lot of grading to get done because grades are due on Monday, and a whole bunch of other things. So let's see. So one of the biggest things that we did this year, and I'm seeing this pay off nicely, is we added 3 new writers. We added Ingrid, who's in the chat. We added Robert, who is from Australia. And then returning is Stacy Bauer, who used to write for us years ago. And we have had, I don't know, I can't get this to pop up in one of the windows. But the goal is that we have 2 reviews per day every week. And in 2017, we started out in January with 71 reviews, but that dropped by December of 2017 to 22 reviews for the month. Or, and if you just look at the chart, it just goes, starts up high and then just goes straight down into the can. In 2018, we had 37 reviews starting in January. And when we got all of our new writers kind of on board in May, we jumped up to 55 reviews for that month. And now we are over 80 reviews per month. And I'm pretty sure we will hit 80 plus in December. So that is really nice. We're getting a lot more reviews. The publishers are really happy with what they're seeing. The creators are really happy with what they're seeing, even if we are, maybe sometimes not saying some nice things about their books. They still appreciate that we're doing the reviews, and that helps them out a lot. Matthew says, maybe time to make new and different shows. Just a thought. Well, Matthew, what are some ideas? What are some ideas of new and different shows that you want? I mean, we pretty much cover the shows that we want to cover, right? We've got a RPG, right? We will hit, so in 2019, this is really cool, Brian. We will hit the 500th episode of Critical Hit. One of the, if not the longest continuous running role-playing game show out there. We are doing the board game show, Munchkinland. That is doing really good. So we've got that covered. We've got the comic book show, major spoiler. So we've got comic books covered in our, that is those 3 things right there. Board games, role-playing games, comic books are kind of right where we are at right now. I didn't put down any of the data on the major spoilers slash Steven Streams shows that I've been doing on Saturdays. I've been doing more of those throughout the year. So we've got video game plays in there. And then we've got, interviews. Wayne's Comics Podcast has a lot of interviews in there. And then we've got comic book and dive deep specifics in the Dueling Review and the Legion Clubhouse stuff. So we're not going to do a political show. We're not going to do, we've got Finally Friday, which is basically a chat show, a talk show, a live show where we have interactions with you, or we have guests like Ashley's been on quite a bit. Movie-related shows, it would be great to get a movie-related show back in, but right now it's finding that time to get that movie-related show in. So it's either cancel shows that are doing really well to start a new show, which would have, got to start with new numbers and new metrics.
Find time to watch movies.
Yeah, and then also find time to watch movies. Different actual plays for various other RPGs, bringing on new talent for those types of shows. Do you have a dedicated movie review and discussion podcast? We used to, Matthew. If this is the first time that you're checking us out, again, go back and listen to Zach on Film if you haven't. There's a lot of good shows in there. So as far as various RPGs, 2018 was all about various RPGs. We, in 2018... maybe it started in 2017, but we had Call of Cthulhu that we played on Critical Hit. We had Pathfinder that we played on Critical Hit. We've got Brian is sitting down, and we're recording some other RPG stuff in the coming weeks. And then, of course, we've got the Dungeons and Dragons. We've already announced Dresden Files. We've already announced Starfinder. We've already announced what else. Those are the things that are coming next when Rodrigo is done doing his Void Saga story. So
we did Urban Shadows.
Oh yeah, Urban Shadows is the other one. Yeah, so we've got a bunch of different RPG stuff for you to go and check out. Let's see. Let me tell you how to run your network, Steve. That's fine. I mean, that's why we do this, right? So that you guys can give us feedback and you can give us ideas and suggestions. Just remember that every time that you give a suggestion, it is weighted and it is weighed, and there's a thing called return on investment. What can we do? What can we practically do with the means that we have? And again, if you go and look at our Patreon page at patreon.com/major spoilers, you'll see that we don't have a whole lot of money, which is really surprising considering when you look at some other RPG podcasts that have numbers that are much, much lower than ours, and they're making 5 to 10 times what we're making. And I'm just like, wow, why? What is going on there that they're able to leverage their fans and they do so much less than what we do? I guess. I mean, from what you can tell on their Patreon pages and whatnot. So, but go and check if you want to see what we're doing with the RPGs. You can go over and check on patreon.com/major spoilers and see what we are doing there. I wish you would do a short show on individual comics or superheroes. We do that. We do. Steve is asking about that. It's a show called Dueling Review. And the cool thing about Dueling Review, which is another thing we did this year with 2018, is every week we solicit you guys to go and vote for what comic you want us to review. And then Matthew goes and Matthew and I will then go in and review that comic in detail. So we also have, we don't produce it. Jason and Ashley, we do distribute the Geek History Lesson. So that's another show you can listen to. And then, of course, if you're looking for a superhero thing, we do Legion Clubhouse, which is all about the Legion of superheroes. So, yeah. So I think we're kind of hitting, for those of you that are making the suggestions, we're actually hitting that stuff. Maybe go and check out more of what we have on the website and more of what we have in our podcast network. And I think we're covering all the things that you guys are talking about. So there you go. Let's see. So those are the stats. Let's see. What do we have here? If you guys have questions, feel free to ask us questions. 2019 is looking pretty good. As far as Munchkinland goes, I just archived in the last 2 weeks 8 terabytes worth of data for the shows. So those are now archived, but we still have a bunch of Arkham Horror that Brad and we've got about 8 episodes of that that still need to be edited and released. We also have a bunch of Imperial Assault, which I hate that game.
Steven just loves it.
I hate it with a passion. We've got 3 episodes of those recorded already, and then we've got another 2 to record in the new year. And then Brad and I will be running another round of Arkham Horror, the card game. A lot of people have been liking that one and asking us when we're going to bring more of those back. So we've got a bunch of that for 2019. We've got Hellboy scheduled. We've got more Munchkin. What else do we have? Oh, if it comes in, Trogdor, the board game.
Yeah.
We've got some Cthulhu games. We've got a bunch of other board games to play on Munchkinland in 2019. A lot more reviews. I would love to, if we can get the funding, to add a couple of more writers and maybe kick those reviews up to 3 or 4 per day per week, so that we have even a lot more of that stuff. Let's see. I don't, Just the Res says, I would say name recognition and sponsorships may be and I don't know what that word is there, and networks in the background. Yeah, so let's see. Matthew says, yeah, I'm just merely discussing ideas. Love the show. Yeah, we always, like I said, we always appreciate that, but we do have to do that ROI to do it. We would love to do a lot more. We just need to get that level up. And if you go over to for those of you that are already patrons, you can go over to the patron page and you can see the goals that we have set up coming up in the future. Right now, it looks like we've got the GM Roundtable, which we would love to do as a live streaming monthly show. We're about, what are we, about $450 a month away from that. And then we can do a live streaming show where we'll have all of the Critical Hit people coming in to talk about yeah, you ask us GM questions and we provide you answers. So we've got that coming up. I'm looking forward to that. We do have some live stream plans when we hit those goals. A lot of it is, though, for live streams. For those of you that have watched the couple of games that Brad and I have done on Saturdays, we've tried to do some live switching, and that's a little bit complicated if you're the player and the person doing the technical work. So we need to hire an associate producer there. We'd like to get Top 5 to be weekly, which is a very, very popular show. Modern City, full-time editors, whole lot more things that we can do when we hit those goals with help from you. Steve Lombardi says, wow, I've only been listening to the Major Spoilers podcast. You've got a lot of really good shows. Thank you, Steve. Do check them out. And again, you can go find those over at majorspoilers.com. And we've got a whole list under the podcast of shows that are right there for you. Some of them, like I said, Zach on Film is basically done, but the other shows are there, and you can put them in your ear holes and listen to them whenever you like. What's your favorite show, Brian?
My favorite show?
That we do. Not from other people, but ours.
Well, I think Major Spoilers is probably the one I listen to the most.
You don't watch your own shows? You don't listen to Critical Hit? You don't listen to you watch yourself on Munchkin Land?
And find something.
Yeah.
No, typically I think Major Spoilers is the main one. I did really like Top 5, but I lost track of it some time ago when I changed phones and didn't get the feedback on there, and I just need to figure out where the heck I left off.
Add that back in. Add that back in. And if you are a patron, some people have been asking me this, so let's do this real quick. If you are a patron and you're like, hey, Steven, I thought you had mentioned at one time about an RSS feed. If you go over to the website, you will find the audio RSS link, and you'll copy that link and paste it into your your podcast catcher, whatever that you're using for podcasts. And then whenever we release new bonus content, exclusive content, like for those of you that want to listen to Critical Hit a week early, that patron feed will get you that, depending on if you're the $5 and up level, plus all the other stuff that we release, like the Flashback podcast, where we specifically talk about the Flash TV show and the pre-show and a lot of stuff. That will show up in as a totally separate feed for you to check out and listen to. And then, as J. Michael T. is saying, we also have the Major Spoilers Podcast Network. If you go and find that feed over at the, again, whatever RSS podcatcher that you use, Apple Podcasts, for example, you can subscribe to that, and then you'll get all the shows that we release in one giant feed. Let's see. Jess says, I listen when commuting, doing chores, walking. James says, I recently found your channel while looking for info on Pandemic Legacy. Are you planning to cover Season 2 or any other Legacy games? No.
You wouldn't even want to give Betrayal Legacy a try?
What didn't we do? I thought we did like Pandemic Cthulhu or whatever that was.
Yeah, we did.
We did that one. I think that one's up on the channel. No, it's not a Legacy game. I just, and I'm as much as I hated Pandemic Legacy. It was too stressful.
Did you?
It was too stressful. And there was so much going on, because that was one of the first times in Pandemic Legacy, the first one that we did, that really kind of pushed us more over onto the video side. So I blame Pandemic Legacy for a lot of my woes, because Munchkin Land used to just be audio. But then when we started doing Pandemic Legacy, it was like, okay, well, we'll do this once a month. And then it's like, oh no, if you lose, you have to do the month over again. And it's like, okay, then we ended up with 2 video episodes per month. And then we had that coming out monthly. And then, oh boy. So then it was just like, hey, we're doing good. We might as well just continue it. And then it's like, oh my gosh, somebody's got to edit all this stuff that we're putting together. Like I said, 8 terabytes of content on these 2 drives. This drive is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, some Arkham Horror, Street Masters, which has been a fun game. That is the game that I've enjoyed the most.
I would say that the Street Master story mode is a lot like a Legacy game, without, applying stickers or tearing up cards.
Right. Oh yeah, because of what happens with your characters, with your story decks and stuff. So that's kind of Legacy.
Trading in cards for more powerful ones.
Yeah,
so it kind of has that feel there.
This one has this one contains all of Pandemic Legacy on it. Some Arkham Horror games 1 through 7 are on this one, as well as some other BTS stuff that we have. The Drist episode that we did years ago is on here as well. As far as, we played Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which kind of has some Legacy mechanics in it, depending on which way the story goes. If you win, then you might get a different villain than if you lose. And then you get some other bonus things for that. And then, like you said, Street Masters kind of is that way. I'm just not really thrilled on diving back into Pandemic right now, because we have so much other stuff to get through. I mean, if you see my other room, there's just a stack of boxes that we haven't even opened up yet.
There's a lot of new Legacy games, though.
I know, right?
I mean, I don't think Ultimate Werewolf Legacy would really be conducive to a podcast, but that seems like it'd be a fun one. What was the other one?
Which one did you say?
Ultimate Werewolf.
Oh, Ultimate Werewolf.
So,
okay.
like, yeah, I don't know if you ever played Werewolf.
I have it out there. They sent it out to us. So.
But yeah, one of those hidden role games, which again I think would be a little weird to try to do for a podcast.
J. Michael T says, apologies for a break in the show during the holidays. Oh yeah, Stephen apologizes for a break in shows during the holidays, and I'm like, cool, I can catch up a little bit more. I'm so far behind on some of these shows. I think Jess said that she's 8 months behind on Critical Hit. Got to get caught up. That Void Saga game will be ending. So yeah, no, I mean, I hope I'm not being short or mean when people are throwing out ideas, because I do like ideas. Yeah. But it's just, I feel like some of the suggestions have been, well, these are kind of shows we've already been doing. So
yeah. I mean, it's it's really hard to try to see what would the wider audience like.
Right. Yeah, and so we have over on the Patreon page, I've asked for input on what games you wanted us to play in Munchkin, and so I will program that for the entire year. I don't know if I have access to what else we have planned for 2019, but I know I know between Arkham Horror and Imperial Assault and what's the other one? I thought there was one more game. Doopy-doopy-doo. I can't remember it. There's like one more game that's multiple parts, and the kind of, we're looking at games that have like a story mode.
Minions, or?
Well, Mechs vs. Minions we had to kind of shutter because all of the audio for one of the episodes was lost, and so we can't go back and replay that and then get into, and we can't jump to the next game because that kind of throws things off quite a bit. So we've kind of shuttered that one. So there's actually 2 episodes of Mechs vs. Minions we could have released in 2019.
There's apparently a Clank Legacy.
Oh boy, I could do that one. I've played Clank a little bit.
Yeah, it's a pretty fun game.
Yeah. We've got, so one of the things that we've talked about with Munchkin Land is we really enjoy some of these games that maybe are not legacy games, but do have multiple parts or multiple storylines to it.
Yeah.
And so we've looked at playing games at least through 4 episodes. So like a whole month might be dedicated to one game on Munchkin Land. And then if it's got a story mode, like, for example, of the Imperial Assault, we're doing the Jabba's Job or whatever it is. And it's got 5 parts to it. So we're going to do all 5 parts to that and see how that goes. Yeah, so that's kind of what we're doing on the Munchkin Land. Let's see, Jess says, interpretive dance describing your favorite superhero once a month. I mean, maybe we could make that a goal. I mean, we could do get us in the body stockings and get out there and dancing and moving around. That could be, we could even have a lewd version of that. So many of the people have lewd patron goals that we could do that as well. Nicholas is asking, the CW crossover Elseworlds, we just released that this past week. It came out on Thursday. It's over on the Patreon page. For those of you that tuned in when we first started the stream, I was playing about 10 minutes of that from this week, and that ended up being about an hour and 10 minutes, I want to say, of discussion about all 3 of those episodes. So we did do that, and we're looking forward to Crisis on Infinite Earths for next year as well.
I'm so behind on those CW shows.
I don't even watch Supergirl or Arrow anymore because I just can't keep up with them.
But then, I was like kind of getting confused about the various crossovers, and so I've gone back and I'm now kind of fighting my way through season 5 of Arrow.
I'm sorry.
See. Yeah.
$1 to support our interpretive dance, $2 to keep it from happening.
Excellent.
I don't even know how you do interpret. It'd be like,
yeah.
And that's my Plastic Man interpretive dance for the month. There you go, everybody. That is Plastic Man. I hope you all saw that in the fact that I was being very fluid like Plastic Man would be. If you guys have other questions, just feel free to shout them out there in the chat. It's always good to have so many of you here. I wish we could do every month free, but I feel like we do this for our patrons, and especially for the $10 and up people, gold level or the assistant producer level or the associate producer level and higher, so that you guys have a little bit more, what's the word I'm looking for? You have a little bit more input, not input, but you have a little bit more fulfillment that we're giving back to you in terms of that. But we do Finally Friday, almost every Friday, almost 40 times this year, where you can jump into the chat, and certainly J. Michael T. and Jarmo and Jess and let's see, Great Nate O. and Bill Schweigert usually show up in the chat and start talking about stuff. So there you go. I will increase my donation to stop that dance. Nicholas Martinez says.
Keep it going.
Keep it going. Keep it going. Wait till you see Brian's interpretive dance on Street Masters.
On Street Masters.
Yeah. That'd kind of like looping animation.
Select, yes.
I'm cackling eating breakfast at the pub. Love the stories of creators, publishers disagreeing with your reviews. Oh, okay. Well, let's see. And I'm not going to name names since this is the public one. But there is a very, very popular writer over at DC Comics who the very first time I had a negative thing to say about his comic, and it was a popular comic that he was doing at the time, and I loved the first issue and I loved the second issue, and like the third issue was not as good. And I kind of said that in my review, and this is like 4 years ago or something. Suddenly this writer slides into my DMs and actually I think he first contacted me via Facebook, and then he started, after I followed him, he started DMing me. But he was like, "Hey man, I saw that you didn't like my writing, or you didn't like that particular issue, and I'm really sorry that you felt that way about my issue." He wasn't really aggressive about it, but he did say, "Hey, we put an extra lot of effort into the fourth issue, which is coming out next week. I hope that you read it, and I hope that you appreciate it, and I hope you see the improvement in there." And sure enough, it was, and I mentioned that. But I thought it was really weird that he, specifically this big name writer, reaches out to me to kind of say, "Hey, I saw you shit all over my writing. Maybe check out my future stuff." And ever since then, I tend not to reach out to creators just to DM with them or chat with them. Occasionally, there's a couple of writers that I'll do that, and who are pretty responsive. Lila Sturgis is good at that. If I have a question for her, she'll respond back to me, and we do some chatting every once in a while back and forth. Gail Simone is pretty good if we have some questions or just chatting back and forth kind of stuff. But I tend to not reach out to creators directly. And I know some people are like, as soon as I got their email, I'm going to be emailing them all the time. And I'm like, nah, I'm not going to bother people like that. Although, like Mark Wade is someone that if I write to him, he'll respond back to me. But it's like, I don't, you're busy, I'm busy. I don't need to bother you just because it's like, oh, I've got your email address, so now we can write to one another and be best buds, because that's not how that works. But this one particular writer, every time he has a new series that's coming out or a big moment in one of the series that he's currently writing, he DMs me and says, "Hey, just want to let you know, I've got this issue coming up this week. I hope you really enjoy it. I know this is right up your alley, or this is along the lines of something that you like. Give it a check." Or if it's somebody else who has written a review about one of his works, he'll contact me and say, "Oh, I saw so-and-so didn't like that issue that much." And it's just like, I appreciate that. And he's very friendly, but it's really weird.
It is a bit, yes.
Yeah. And of course, it's always nice anytime. What was the book that I totally crapped on Dueling Review this year that I hated with a passion? And I appreciate when creators or publishers just retweet the stuff that we have posted about their stuff and just retweet it. But I like it more when they retweet it after I know that they've listened to it. Yeah. And there has been another writer, it's been within the last 6 months, where I totally hated the comic. and they responded to me in open tweet, basically like, hey, I understand you didn't like the book. Thank you for being polite in your discussion about it. I appreciate the fact that you even gave it a chance. So
that's fantastic.
Yeah. So I really like it when writers reach out to us, and it's always good to know that people are reading and listening to our stuff. So, he must read the site. I don't know who you're mentioning there, Jess. Yeah, he does read the site. That's the thing. And he's and if you're talking about this one particular writer that I haven't named, I know he reads the site, and I know that every time that a keyword pops up that he's working on, he definitely checks the stuff out. D&D Brian is a delight. Let's get him in more videos. Well, right now he's in all of our Munchkin Land videos.
Yeah.
And the only thing that you're not in is our Finally Friday stuff, but I think that's only because you're working. Cat, out of this room. Mojo, get out. You're not supposed to be in here. Nerve of that cat. Company comes over and he thinks he can just get away with anything. Delight us, Brian, with news and stories about what's been going on with you.
Oh, me, not too much. I've been working on some things that'll be coming to fruition here shortly, but
very excited about that.
I've been taking the holiday opportunities and sales to pick up a few video games.
Oh, what did you pick up?
Oh, not too long ago, I did get Assassin's Creed Odyssey for my Xbox. Also tried a bit of Elder Scrolls Online just to see how that compares versus Fallout 76.
Oh, yeah.
And so that's been kind of interesting. I playing the Elder Scrolls Online, I definitely feel like it was a bit of a misstep for them not having NPCs as much.
Mm-hmm.
Because, being able just to talk to NPCs really does help provide a lot of that RPG feel that is kind of missing in Fallout.
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed Odyssey is pretty fun. It's an open world game, and I do like the whole gameplay cycle of sneaking into a bad guy encampment and stealth killing them one by one and hiding the bodies so I can continue and try to get through those. It's always a bit of fun. I just yesterday I picked up for my Switch Super Smash Brothers Ultimate and Starlink.
Oh yeah. Starlink is that it's like where the ship is the controller or something?
Well, it has it's a Toys to Life thing where you put together this ship from various components, or you can if you bother to buy additional components, which I really haven't. So I'm not too sure how much that works out. And I've only managed to play a little bit of it, but it seems to be so far pretty fun, spaceship shooty flying game. And the Switch version, it actually comes with Star Fox and his ship.
Oh, that's cool.
As an option.
Now and you flip out the weapons and things on this, right?
Yeah.
To make it better.
Flip out the weapons and the wings and the pilot. There's actually a little pilot figure inside the ship.
Oh,
that
neat.
You can switch out. And
cool.
So you different abilities.
You can flip out Star Fox and put somebody else in?
Yeah, and put in the main guy. And I mean, it's a little bit weird because you don't actually get the main guy's ship physically with the Switch version. So you can just switch it digitally.
So you don't even need the physical stuff.
I guess. I mean, I'm wondering, I haven't seen a way to just purchase the additional weapons or wings or ships additionally, or digitally. So I'm guessing I'd still at least have to buy the physical thing, but maybe once I plug it in, then I can just go into the menu and switch them out, and that'd be a lot easier. I mean, I don't know. I'll have to try that out. But
Jarmo says, I've been thinking about picking up Spider-Man for the PS4. I have it. I love it. I haven't had a chance to play it in a while. I'm stuck on the stupid chase, is it Scorpion, through the city level. But they've just released 2 DLCs for it. The second one, I think, is just out or is coming out this week. That kind of wraps up the saga of that game.
Yeah, I don't have a PlayStation 4, or else I'd also be really wanting to get that.
I went all out on that game. I got so excited about it. I got the PS4 theme, so you've got the wallpaper in the game, and it's got a very slow piano version of the Spider-Man theme song that plays. So on your different menu screens, you'll hear this song playing in the background. And it's really kind of nice and neat. Yeah. I dig that. And then a couple of years ago, I bought a skin, bought a skin. They sent it to me for a review. From one of these companies that have I think it was Skinit was the company. I've reviewed their cell phone cases before, but they also do skins for your PS4. So I've got my whole PS4 is all decked out in a Spider-Man theme, including the controller. So I've got a red PS4 that's all Spider-Man, and the controller and everything's all decked out. But I've been having trouble getting, for those of you that have been watching the game streams, I've been having trouble getting the PS4 to connect through the system on a Mac. So for those of you that were watching last week for the game stream, you know that I got a new system that everything looks like it's working better.
Nice.
So now I'm just kind of finalizing layouts and everything. So we'll be able to do some PS4 stuff in the future.
Excellent.
So yeah. Let's see. Says J. Michael T. What I'm reading column. I'm always looking for new comics to read and just heard about The Wicked and the Divine in the recent show, so I picked it up and loving it. Well, I would suggest maybe checking out the reviews that we have on the website. Like I said, we're doing 2 per day or 10 per week, and that'll give you some pretty good recommendations. And one thing that you can do if you're just kind of like, I don't want to read a whole review of what these guys are doing. This is one of the bonuses for the new theme that we have is right here on the front of the page. I don't think I can zoom it up. No, but like here's Ingrid today wrote Auntie Agatha's Home for Wayward Rabbits #2, and you can see the picture, and then right there on the image for the review, you can see how many stars she's given it even before you go in and read the review. So this is a 3-star review, and so then you can go in and learn a little bit more about it. Also on the right-hand column at the bottom, now I know it's a little bit of a different experience for mobile users, but we also have the 5 most recent reviews, and I could add a few more onto that. But it also tells you what we reviewed, and it gives you the star rating on those as well. So that can give you an idea of what's going on. On this week's, on Mondays, the morning stream, which I've been a guest on for, I don't know, almost since that show started. I think I was their first regular guest. I'll be going over a bunch of comic book recommendations for 2018. And then I know this week on the Major Spoilers podcast, we don't have a set topic for the show. So it will be it'll be Ashley and Matthew and I. We're going to be talking about general topic stuff, but also some of the best comics from the year as well there. So if you're looking for stuff to do, that is where we can do that. But I would definitely say, as far as comic book goes, go and check out the individual reviews that we have on the site, and that'll give you an idea.
And there's also the staff picks every week. So.
Yeah, we also have the staff picks every week. Thanks for that, Brian. Good one. You're right on there, Brian. The staff picks, not everybody participates, Brian.
I hardly get any comics anywhere these days.
I know, right? We don't have a comic store in town. No. But every week up on the website, we have, and this is every Wednesday morning, we have staff picks, where for everyone who does participate that week, we are recommending not necessarily the books we're reviewing that week, but the books that we are reading and that we recommend to you. So for this past week, it's Bitterroot #2, God of War #2, I think is that's a Rodrigo pick, but it's also a Robert, I think, reviewed the book this week. So I know that he's reading that. Goddess Mode from Zoe Quinn hit the list from Matthew. The Hellboy Winter Special I reviewed for the Major Spoilers podcast, but my God, that is a great book. So you can just go through here and see what comics we're recommending. And that usually aligns, as Brian said, with stuff that we're reading. I probably will not do the year in review for books like I have done in the last couple of years, because this year, as of October, when I kind of stopped reading books because I got too busy with some other things, I was already up to 76 books for the year in just October.
Yeah.
And I don't think I can write quick summaries of each one of those books and why I like them or dislike them. And some of the books I got into because some of you recommended them, and some of them are very problematic. And I've talked about that before in some places where there's a lot of fantasy elements to them. And I don't mean like fantasy like magic and dragons and that kind of stuff. I mean like harem kind of stuff. And it's just like, yeah, I'll read it just to see what it's about. But after I'm done with it, it's kind of like, I kind of need a hot bath.
Yeah.
Jarmo says, I've been trying to catch up to your game streaming whenever I can. One thing that we have talked about, and I don't know if we'll do this, especially if we can get to that level where I can hire an assistant. Yeah. It would be maybe a lot easier to make Munchkin Land a live streaming game instead of a game that we go back and edit. Now, I know that there are times where we have to like edit out big chunks of stuff because it's just dead time. But if we could live stream it. No, but I mean, if we're live streaming it, that's time where we can interact with the chat, that's going on, and then we've got somebody who's letting us know that, hey, somebody has a question or somebody has a thought. And I think that could be a lot more interesting to do for Munchkin Land, but right now we can't do it because we just don't have the manpower to do it. But that's something that I would like to do. Let's see. J. Michael T says PS4 Spidey is really good. Yeah. Let's see. I've been trying to catch up your game streams whenever I can, and I wish I was a little bit more regular with them, and specifically on the days and times. But the hard part is during the early fall and the early winter, or the late spring, my oldest son is involved in soccer, and so I'm out of town a lot. Yeah. If Brian was doing streaming stuff, I'd hook him up into the account, and he could be at home game stream on Saturday afternoon. So I mean, there's always an option there. But I don't. Do you do any game streaming, Brian?
No,
do you have a setup to do game streaming?
No.
Okay.
I've never done that.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, that would be something that we could. So that's the reason why I don't do as many game streams, and so why they're kind of erratic. And then, of course, after we're done with the soccer season, there's about a month and a half where I can hit about 6 weeks of games in a row. But then we get Thanksgiving, and then we get holiday time, and then we get, other things that get in the way. So that kind of shortens my ability to get on. But today, in about 10 minutes, we're going to go watch the Spider-Man movie. So excited about that. So I won't be doing a live game stream at 3 o'clock, but more than likely tonight, I'll probably be doing another late night live stream, game stream test again to kind of knock out a few more problems potentially with this system. I did get the audio problem figured out after last week's game stream, so that's a plus. So we've got that going on. I'd love to know when you do guest spots and crossovers. So every Monday I am on the morning stream with Scott Johnson and Brian Ibbett. It's a live streaming show. It starts for my time. It is it's 10 a.m. Central is when the show starts, when they live stream it. I come on in the second hour, so that's like 11 o'clock Central Time. And I'm on for about 15 or 20 minutes, and we're just talking about general pop culture stuff. So you can either check that out at the live stream, or you can check out the morning stream on Mondays. It's on the podcast and all those other places. Yeah, so Jess says, yeah, try to do the live and then rebroadcast on YouTube and edit out the dead times.
Yeah. That'd be fantastic.
Yeah.
Just be nice to have a producer and an editor to do so.
That's what we need. That is the thing we need. And so here's the thing. Here's the real cool thing. The university, they have the Dane G. Hansen Foundation has given a crap ton of money to the university for businesses to hire interns. And the Dane G. Hansen Foundation pays for, I want to say they pay for almost 75% of the money for these students. So it's a 20-hour-a-week position.
So they can get that experience.
They can get that experience. All I have to do is essentially pay $400 a month for the 5 months. So I kick in $2,000, they kick in all the rest, and then that student is available for 20 hours of work. Now, the drawback is, I believe it's only one semester, so there's always going to be a constant, I'm going to retraining some people. But there may be an option to, hey, I really like this person. Can we keep them on and do those kinds of things? But in order to get to that amount, they approached me this past, I want to say they approached me in August. No. Oh, I guess it was early spring. This year has been really crazy. So it was really, they approached me this year and they're like, Stephen, we've got this opportunity that we think that can help you out as a small business in our community. We think that this would be a great idea to work with you. This is how much you would have to contribute. And I'm like, I'm losing money as is. I'm taking money out of my own pocket to make sure that Major Spoilers is going. I cannot afford, an additional essentially $500 a month to kick into that. But that's why I set up that Patreon goal, that if we could get somebody in there, then we would have that money that even if Dane G. Hansen was only like, nope, one semester and gone, we would have that recurring monies to keep that person on beyond that. So I'm kind of excited about that. If we could hit that goal, then I know that we'd be able to get that person in and work with them. And of course, that may, certainly they would have to be here on Monday nights for Munchkin Land. That would be their main thing, because they can make sure that things are framed up correctly, and they can make sure that audio is getting recorded and sounds good. So And we've had some problems this year where recordings have stopped, cards have filled up, we weren't paying attention and something shut down. And so we've lost information that way, and I hate it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Marshall says, "Oh, Brian streaming would be awesome."
Would it? I don't know. We might have to try it.
I've told my son that if he wants to, he can come down and stream on my setup.
I'd have to learn to be more talky when I'm playing games, because I do tend to just zone out.
Yeah, I tend to do that too. Yeah, J. Michael T says that sounds amazing if you can take advantage of it. Also, remind us you have Twitch. Is it just Major Spoilers? Yes. So I am on Twitch, and it's twitch.tv/Major Spoilers. Thank you, Jarmo, for putting that in. And so I'm streaming simultaneously. So, you can either watch us on YouTube or you can watch us on Twitch. If you're on Twitch, you can give us bits, obviously, or you can use, which one of you? Is it Jarmo or J. Michael T? I forget. One of you, I think in the chat, is a, you have this Amazon Prime. If you have an Amazon Prime account, every month you are awarded a certain amount of credits with your account that you can give to a Twitch channel. And you can either use it or not use it. And if you don't use it, then it goes nowhere. It goes into Amazon's pocket. But you can gift it to or subscribe to a Twitch channel. And I think it's like $5 a month or something like that. But you have to resubscribe. You have to resubscribe every month. And then that money builds up on the Twitch channel too. So the Twitch channel, even though we don't have, my son pointed out the other day, Ninja has like 1 million people viewing his Twitch channel. That's kind of like, yeah. You're 3 people that are watching. That's nothing compared to Ninja. But the Twitch channel has actually grown. We have actually, in this last year, we have hit, we are an affiliate now.
Nice.
And we are on the path to partner. And we are about 30% of the way to hit a Twitch partnership right now. So I guess that's good. Yeah. We've already far surpassed to be the partnership. We have to have 50 followers. We have over 141. We just need to get more people chatting at the same time. And I need to stream a few more days during the week to hit that. But yeah, we're getting closer to being a partner on Twitch. We have to stream for 25 hours in a month. And right now we're streaming only about 6 to 10 hours a month. So we have to almost double the amount of stuff that's coming out. We have to stream on 12 different days. And right now we're streaming about 7 different days out of the month. And we have to average 75 viewers, and got a little bit of ways to go on that one. Yeah. A little bit of ways to go on that one. So yeah, you can check us out on Twitch. You can check us out on YouTube. I like to stream to both. And if I would upgrade the Restream.io account, I could stream to Facebook and to Periscope and all that stuff all at the same time, which would be nice because it gets the message out in multiple different ways. Let's see. Oh, it's called Twitch Prime, is what Lash Dude says. Yeah. Twitch Prime is what you want to look for when you're on our channels. So I will be gaming live later tonight, providing nothing else pops up. There's a parade tonight. Yeah. Are you going to that?
No, not planning on
it. The soccer team was said, hey, if you would all like to come and march in the parade tonight, here's where you need to be at this time. It's like, I don't want to be outside when it's cold.
No.
And I don't want to sit around in a parade granted, the parade is fine. But it's a dumb community event.
It is, yeah.
Okay, Brian, real quick. We are about done. Anything else you want to share with people? I know I tend to talk a lot during these, but there's so much that I want to get out to our patrons.
I don't know. Just spread the word. Keep listening. I can't think of too much that I'd want to share right now. We definitely got some things in the works and planned this next year.
I think 2019, if you are a $10 and up patron member, there's going to be a lot more content for you to appear. That'll just be part of your monthly payment. That I think you're really going to be excited about. Some people have been asking about where are the prints. The November print should be out. I'm waiting on the December stuff because I've not heard back from Alex Diacon yet, and I need to get in touch with him and say, hey, was there a December print for us? He said he was working on it, but I know he's very busy with some actual game stuff that he does. He did the 5-minute dungeon and the sequel to that. And I know there's some other things that are pushing on him because he's been doing some art for another thing too. I want to say like another major game that he's been doing the art on. And I think that may be keeping him busy. So this, I don't know, this may be the last year we do prints, unfortunately. I mean with him, unless I can find somebody else. And maybe if somebody's out there that wants to do some art and you've got some really high quality art stuff that we can turn into prints that we can send out to our patrons, that would be great. We're into the final 6 months to get your exclusive t-shirt for the, I think it's 25 and up patrons. And people have been asking for years, hey, when are we going to get, the character shirt? Remember the season 1, that the limited edition one that had me, had Orem, had Torque, had Randus and Smith on it. Mm-hmm. People have asking, hey, when are we going to get like Sakaar and Little Sparkle and what was Adriana's character? Trell and Ket on there. This year, that is the exclusive shirt. It's the Rodrigo went in and drew the character faces. We're making exclusive only to our patrons who are at that t-shirt level, and you can get that. And it's after this year, it's gone. It's gone. It won't be available after that. So if you want to get that shirt, you can get it now by becoming a patron at patreon.com/majorspoilers. I think that's it. I think that's where we're at for December. There's a lot to go through, and we go through this every month. So again, if you're $10 and up patron member, make sure that you're checking the feeds, checking all that stuff, because and your emails and that stuff, because we do this every month. Sometimes Brian's here, sometimes Matthew's here. You'll notice that there's 2 major spoilers boxes down below. That's because 2 other people are not here in this regular month. When Rob was here, he would occupy a 3rd spot, that kind of stuff. So there's a lot going on, and we always like to share it with you, and we always like to thank you for your support, whether you're currently a patron or not. Thank you for listening to our shows, checking out our website, and most importantly, spreading the good word about what Major Spoilers is, because the more people that know about us, the bigger we can grow, and of course, the more things that we can do for you. Thank you, Brian.
No problem.
I hope you win the ugly sweater contest later tonight.
Let's see.
Thank you, patrons, for being here, and we will talk with all of you again very soon. Have a happy holiday and happy new year, and we will see you very soon.